I'm Sue.
And I'm Steve.
And we're aging joyfully. We just returned from our small town North Carolina vacation.
How exciting. Our first stop was Franklin, North Carolina, a hidden treasure in the mountains of North Carolina.
There's a Scottish tartan museum that was closed, but the gift shop was open and the woman there had a wealth of information.
Oh yes, she was just incredible with the information. I knew nothing about tartan or plaid, whatever you want to call it, of why they were different colors, different colors and all of them in stripes, and I never knew anything about it, and she was very informative.
Yes, and you find out that you're Scottish when you didn't know that you were Scottish.
That's right.
There's a short in the description that I talk about that.
It was very, very interesting, and it has a very quaint downtown, some restaurants, some gift shops or souvenir stores. You know, it was very nice. And then there's a city utility building that the residents pay their bills in that have very clean public restrooms.
That's nice to find in a small town.
Yes, it's very nice to find.
So we didn't buy anything there. We were there briefly. And the next city we visited is Canton, which has a big history. Yeah. Interesting history because they just closed the paper mill recently, which devastated the employment in the town.
Yes, and if you've ever been around a town where there's a paper mill or driving by it, there's an amazing, horrible odor from the paper being processed. And so I'm sure the residents don't miss the odor, but there were a lot of residents that were employed there and are no longer employed.
It was generations of families employed there, and some people got jobs in Asheville. It just is contributing to the poverty of the area, so it's kind of devastating. The downtown was very small. I don't know if shops closed. I'm sure they did as the paper mill closed. I'm sure the shops closed, but we did go shopping. We had lunch there. It was a great lunch, and I don't think we bought anything. There were some things we could have bought, but yeah, we're trying to declutter at this point.
Right. And we had a lot of cities to go, so we really weren't focused on buying anything unless something really jumped out at us.
And the third town was bigger than those two, Hickory, North Carolina.
Ooh, yeah, Hickory, very nice place, kind of in the middle to the eastern part of the state. And Hickory it's a very nice place. It's really a booming town, built up. Hickory is kind of the gateway to the higher mountains in North Carolina. And, you know, they had a very nice area that we kind of walked around and bought a couple things.
Well, there was a decent downtown with a lot more shops and restaurants, and it was obviously bigger than the first two. It's still at about 40,000 population, but we did buy these things, right, that we want to show.
Yeah, we sure did. We always look for new and unique things when we're going around to these small towns. And so this is what we found at a place called, what is that place called?
It's called the Natural Olive in Hickory.
And what's amazing is when you walked in, there's just rows and rows of olive oil in huge tankers, and you know, you taste the olive oil and then you can purchase a bottle of it, or two or three, in different sizes. And they also had in there balsamic vinegar too. And what goes better with olive oil than balsamic vinegar? And you could taste those, and they just had multiple combinations of olive oil and spices, olive oil and different fruits, and it was just amazing. We ended up...
Well, we saw these, and if you know me, you know I love these butterflies. Dolly's one of my role models, and she always has butterflies, and they're just so pretty. It just attracted your eye. I had no idea what this is. It says down here to wet it, and it is a dishcloth.
Isn't that amazing?
Just amazing. It's, I don't know, it feels like it might be recycled or something. What does it say?
Washable, reusable, durable, absorbs
What's
16 times its weight, lasts more than 6 months.
Wait, actually...
there it is. In this 70% cellulose, 30% cotton.
It just looks like a recycled thing.
Yeah, it does.
Just, I mean, you never thought that was a dish towel.
It does, but instead of your old raggedy dish towels, These are
Well, we got
nice.
this one is for my sister and brother-in-law who play pickleball all the time. We're not pickleball
nice.
people, but we bought these two dishcloths, and then we bought this to put a bar of soap. I use Dove soap or Dial or something in the shower, so I thought I'd try that out.
You put the bar of soap in that, and it also acts like a washcloth with soap, infused soap.
Then I got this t-shirt. It's a Tennessee t-shirt. That was on sale at Sam's. As we were driving through Asheville, we stopped to get our gas and ran in to use the restroom, and shirts were on sale for like, I don't know, $6 or something. So it was surprising they had a Tennessee shirt in North Carolina, but it's so close to
Yeah, it's
UT.
so close. Yep.
They have a lot of Tennessee things, so I thought, what the heck, you know me? You know my blood runs orange, and I'm always looking for Tennessee things. Let's talk about some of the differences in North Carolina and Georgia. First thing I noticed in the small towns is all the artwork. I don't know, we haven't been to a lot of small towns in Georgia, but it feels like it's more geared towards artists in North Carolina. All the trips we've been on, there's a lot more. They paint the garbage cans and the sides of all the buildings. Beautiful, beautiful murals. Artwork. That's the big thing. We see that there seems to be more artists in North Carolina. May not be true. That's just the impression we get.
Yes, and there's also small galleries, which are interesting to go through. I mean, I'm not a big painting person, but looking at the artwork in the galleries, paintings and sculptures and metalwork, it's just astounding how intricate that these pieces are.
I mean, when we went on our Virginia trip, we noticed up in Virginia too, and I don't know if we haven't been to a lot of places in Georgia. I mean, we just haven't seemed to have noticed it as obviously. So maybe there are more in Georgia. I don't know. Have you seen them?
You know, I really haven't. There probably is some, but we just really haven't noticed it.
So we don't really know. It's just real obvious with the garbage cans and the size of the buildings. What we did notice on our trip over a year ago to Tennessee, there was a nice Dolly mural on the building in that small town where Dolly got married. I'm not sure what I'll have to look up the name of that city. So there was a mural there, and that was a nice shopping area. But in general, I guess maybe we're just not looking in Georgia. That just seems, and the other thing may not be true too, but it feels that way. That feels like there's so much more dog friendly in North Carolina than they are in Georgia.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Then from Hickory, we drove south. We were heading to Charlotte, and we wanted to stop in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, and do some hiking. And we saw Kings Mountain, and we got off the exit. This was a poorly planned trip, obviously.
On our part.
On our part. And we got off the exit, and we're driving, and I see a sign, and we're heading to Kings Mountain. I see a sign that says, "Welcome to South Carolina." And I didn't think about it. I thought, wait a minute, South Carolina. And then we see Kings Mountain entrance. And we're in South Carolina at the state park, Kings Mountain. We were looking for the national park, Kings Mountain, which was in North Carolina. So we ended up trying to figure out how to pay.
Well, they asked for $3 per person, not per car. Per person, they left an envelope. Who has exact change?
Yeah, and the guard booth nobody was there.
And if you're 65 and older, it's $1.50, which who has that exact change?
Right, exactly. No credit card machine, and it was just odd. So we saw a building behind us, and we drove over to it. It was a park ranger house, and there were no park rangers around. We went up and looked in the window, and when we were looking in the window, a park ranger drove around the side in their pickup truck and asked if they could help us, and we told him the story, and he said, well, follow me to the trading post, and you can pay over at the trading post.
He said, I got a card reader there, and we weren't thinking, well, we did want to pay cash, but we didn't have change. But we did follow him over, and we went into a dark building full of things to sell, you know, the mugs and t-shirts, and It was so dark in there. I said, isn't this open?
Yeah, and obviously that they weren't open at the time that we came there, and there were a lot of campers there.
A lot of campers walking their dogs.
Yeah, walking their dogs, and we saw a lot of RVs that were parked there and tents, and it was very, very interesting, but it wasn't open. And then this is the state park, and you could follow this trail. It'll take you to the national park. So they weren't connected.
We weren't expecting to pay because we had hiked in North Carolina last October, and it was free, and we thought all state parks were free. Georgia does charge. We bought our state park pass in Georgia, they charge $5 in Georgia. So we thought it was free, but we didn't know we were going to be in South Carolina. So on our North Carolina vacation, we briefly went to
South Carolina.
And we found out later when we ran into a hiker, she said she just whizzed by that park in Booth and never paid. And then she said after so many times, somebody stopped her and told her, you need to pay. And so she said she started parking on the military, on the national side, which is North Carolina. You don't pay. And then she walked over to South Carolina
the state park. It looked like what was nice, a nice lake, and it had a beautiful waterfall. And then you can also walk a trail around the lake, which we started to do. And if you watch the video, you'll see we started to do it, and we were running out of time because
we were being spontaneous.
We were being spontaneous.
Not planning at all.
No.
And that's what happens when you're spontaneous. You run out of time. We actually had to turn around because we were meeting in Matthews for an early dinner, and his brother is 80 years old.
80 years old.
We had to turn around on the trail because we ran out of time from not planning this trip. We find that we've been planning less and less, and this is what happens when you don't plan. You run out of time. So we started walking on the lake trail. We actually wanted to find what was that? The historic farm,
historic living farm.
That's what we really wanted to go to. But we started walking on the lake trail, and we thought it would just circle around that lake, and it didn't. It veered off, and pretty soon we were getting away from that lake, and we were like, how far is this? Is it ever going to turn around? Clock's ticking, we gotta go.
When you lose sight of the lake, that's not good. When you think you're walking around the lake and you lose sight of it.
It probably did go around, but we just couldn't.
We didn't have the time.
Yeah, we had to get going. We had to turn around, hurry back, get in our car and drive, because even though we were only an hour from Hickory to Charlotte, it was still an hour. I don't know we didn't know how that happened.
That's because we had to go, we went too far. We went further. The reason is because we went further south on the interstate to go to Kings Mountain when Charlotte, Route 77 leads to Charlotte, was north. So when we left Kings Mountain, we had to go north on 85 to get to 77 and then down 77.
The whole vacation was unplanned. We tried to hike in Canton. That's how we ended up shopping, because the camp place was closed. We found the museum in Franklin was closed. The hiking in Canton was closed. So we ended up doing things we really weren't planning on doing, because being winter in the mountains, we didn't know. A lot of things are closed.
Right, exactly. But all in all, it was nice. I mean, we went, the next small town we went to, which isn't small anymore, is Matthews, North Carolina.
We didn't see downtown shopping. I mean,
there was no downtown. There was no quaint old downtown. It was just very congested.
Which maybe we just never found their shop. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the new mall shopping. We really weren't there to shop. We were there to meet Steve's brother and head home.
Actually, it was the end of our trip after being on the road for 5 days, and we wanted to get home.
So we're trying to declutter. So the things we buy are things that you're going to just use up, nothing big. I mean, it's hard when you see something you like. It's hard to say no, but you have to think of. Eventually we're going to downsize and we're decluttering. So it was a great trip. We saw some friends and family and the small towns in the area. I mean, we don't usually take a lot of winter vacations. Last year we took our first to Chattanooga, and it was so cold. We did go hiking there last year. Last year we hiked in Cloudland Canyon. It was freezing.
Freezing cold.
We went to a waterfall and
huge waterfall.
A lot of steps down.
Yeah.
A lot of steps down, slippery steps, because it was, I believe it was just snowing or raining or something.
Yeah,
they were all wet.
Yeah, all icy.
They were all wet. So it was a little challenging. That was our first winter vacation. Hey Steve, wasn't it worth it?
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Sure is.
The water, the boulders, it's
The
gorgeous.
sun came out for just a minute.
We warmed up
I mean,
walking.
a real minute.
We warmed up walking the mile down. I mean, we're still chilly, my feet are frozen. And unless you ski or sled or something,
Right.
winter vacations are a little challenging.
And we drove on this vacation, which was good because we had to bring multiple different kinds of coats because it's in clothes, different warm clothes, cold climate clothes. And so we needed the space because you can't pack it all. And so luckily we drove and we could put it in our vehicle.
Well, because in the mountain areas, it's really cold. And then getting away from the mountains, it was warmer, still cold, but maybe 40-ish, high 40s. So it was good to get away. We're always glad to be home. And we did have to board Sierra.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So she looked really great. She had a bath and looked so clean when we picked her up.
She's so happy to be home.
So now I've got all that laundry to do and all the things after our vacation, and we're trying to plan our next vacation.
Yes, we are. Stay tuned. Subscribe and hit notification.
Yes, we do so many different things in our videos. I mean, we're aging, but as our daughter said, we're all aging, Mom.
Yeah, and we're aging joyfully.
And a lot of times younger people have the same issues with health issues or money issues or travel issues. We have a lot in common with everybody, don't we?
That's right, we sure do. Everybody has basically the same issues. Nobody's isolated from anything, and that's why you have to enjoy life. Enjoy every step of life, because every day is precious. You have to realize that you have a limited amount of time, and every day you have to make the best of it.
And that's what we're doing. We're making the best of every day. We were choosing joy, right?
That's right.
We're choosing joy. If you like these type of videos where we talk about traveling, gardening, dogs,
yeah.
health issues, which again, these health issues are going down to younger and younger people.
They sure are.
Changing our diet, exercise. We don't even know what we're going to talk about because it says it comes into our life. Things in the news, any big issues in the news have influenced or impacted our life as they've impacted everybody's life.
That's true.
Then please subscribe, and until we see you again.
Take it easy.